Hello and welcome to this episode of Compensation Insider. Today I want to tell you about a personal story which happened to me when I started to get a little bit more experienced technically in terms of compensation and benefits, and I was in my second international role. At the time, I was an EMEA compensation and benefits consultant, and I was reporting directly to the director of EMEA compensation and benefits. There were a number of us on the team. We had sub-regions assigned to us, as well as functional specialties across the whole region. So my functional specialty was the sales population across EMEA, which represented over 50 or 60% of the overall headcount in EMEA. And I spent the first 6 months of my job based in Milan, in Italy, because my boss was there. And when I took the job, I asked to spend some time with him. I was initially due to be based in Paris, but I wanted to spend some time with him in order to learn the company culture, the specific processes that were taking place, and so on. So I spent my first 6 months literally sitting in his office because we didn't have enough space. So I was sitting on his meeting table, and I would sometimes leave when he would have a really personal conversation with someone. But most of the time I was sitting in his office. And after that time was passed, I went back to France and I started to work in my office there. At the end of the first year, we had the year-end evaluation. And my boss said to me something which I hadn't anticipated. He said to me, "I don't know what you do." And that was a shock. The directors and the other HR were consistently saying that I was doing a great job, that the compensation team was the best team, that I had put in place new ways of delivering on some of our annual processes that were saving time, making it easier for the local HR to understand and participate to salary surveys, for us as compensation and benefits experts to check the quality of the data submission, and so on. And so it came as a surprise for me, because we were also participating in a lot of survey, conference calls on a regular basis and so on. And I couldn't understand how my boss was saying, "I don't know what you're doing." But I had to admit that it was my manager's reality, and that even though I felt that he knew what I was doing, clearly he wasn't. So that was a big learning point for me, and I had to implement some solutions that would ensure that what I did was recognized, not just by my clients in my part of the world, but also by him. So one of the first few things that I did is that I asked him if he wanted me to report to him more often, and whether he would prefer for me to send him an email that he could, go through at his own time, or if he would prefer for me to give him a call or do a video conference. I'm talking about, I don't know, like 15 years ago. So video conferencing was not as common as it is today, but that was a tech organization, and it was a tool that we were using all the time. He told me that he preferred email because for him that was an asynchronous conversation. He could look at it in his own time and so on, instead of having another call blocked with me. So I started to do that, and to give him like frequent reports on what I had been doing. also sharing with him the feedback that I was receiving from the clients. When I was receiving an email praising or something like that, I would forward to him. I also made a point to keep him informed of when I was struggling. That's one of the things that I had not been doing too much before. Not that I wanted to hide the struggle, but I was first and foremost always trying to find out a solution by myself. And I was very proud that most of the time, if I was giving a call to colleagues inside the company or to some of my friends in compensation and benefits in other organizations, I would find a way to handle the situation. But I realized that if I didn't tell my boss that about some of the challenges that were popping up in my day-to-day life, he would not understand the impact it could have on my workload, on sometimes my availability to deliver on other things and so on. So I started to make sure that I was telling him of those things as well. So reporting on the positive, but also and the achievements and what I have done and the progress, but also reporting on things that were either unexpected or things where I needed his support more. And also I made sure that I was asking for his opinion more often, if only for him to understand that I was confronting a certain number of situations from time to time that he might not be aware of. So I think this system that I put in place, and irrespective of what you want to do with your manager, but I think that the system of reporting to him on a more regular basis really helped. And if you think about it nowadays, when we think of performance management, we have a lot of organizations that are saying that there should be a weekly conversation with the manager and the employee. And from my personal experience now, I would say that yes, this is something that I agree with. This helps a lot, not just the employee, but also the manager. And by the way, this is something which I later on, when I became myself a team manager, and I had 13 people reporting to me, or a bit fewer in another position, I made sure that I was sitting down with every single one of them on one-on-one basis for at least half an hour each week, above and beyond the team meetings and the work assignment and so on, but just to make sure that I knew what they were planning to work on. I knew what were some of their challenges, if they had a day off that was planned, and I might have approved it, but I might not remember, and all this kind of stuff. So I think this is really important, and I wanted to share that experience with you, just to highlight that really it's important to share that information, and that is not going to reflect badly. Actually, the more your manager knows and understands what you're doing, the better he or she will be able to support you. Thank you so much, and I hope that I will see you next week in the next episode. Thank you.